Hey guys, real quick video on how to winterize a camper. I'm sure there's lots of other videos on how to do it, but specifically for one thing that's a little different is that the water heater didn't have a bypass valve. Probably a lot of videos you watch, they'll tell you to find the water heater, drain it. You drain it from the outside. You usually you might need a socket, or it might just be a valve that you can turn. So I've already drained mine. But this camper is older and it didn't have a bypass valve, which typically how it's set up is there's a valve on the incoming and the outgoing of the water heater, and those connections are just right here. The hot water comes out of the top, cold water goes in the bottom. And so a cheap fix for this is just get some brass 1/2 inch male pipe thread to hose barb couplers. It doesn't matter the size of hose barb as long as you get the appropriate size hose. But typically these female swivels are going to be, well, this is a female, so you need to buy the male pipe thread. Typically it's 1/2 inch. So a brass 1/2 inch male fitting here to, I used a 3/4 hose barb, and then bought 5/8 hose. It's just whatever fit good. Hose clamped it, and then same thing over here. So this was the output side of the water heater, and this was the cold water in to the bottom. Hot water heats it, or the heater heats it. Hot water comes out of the top. So anyways, I just remove these from the water heater, tie them together with a piece of hose. So essentially now when you run your RV antifreeze from your pump, it comes in on the cold water line, and you don't want it to go inside your water heater because it's going to be hard to get it all out in the future. So instead you just drain that, and then you want to bypass that, and you want to send the antifreeze back on the hot line in the camper, and that goes to all your fixtures, your kitchen sink and bathroom sink and your shower, etc. So that's a cheap, easy way. This was like $10 worth of fittings and hose. So cheap way to bypass the water heater. And then you just find your water pump. In my case, I had to disconnect it from the tank here's inside the camper, the older camper, and take that hose and drop it down into your jug of RV antifreeze, kick on your pump, and then start running all your faucets until they run pink. Sometimes this might not act like it's going to suck out of this jug because it has to bring it up high. Try starting your pump with the faucet already open. Sometimes it's airlocked downstream of the pump, and so sometimes just opening the faucet will get it to prime up, or sometimes you may need to pour antifreeze into this tube and get the tube full so that it has something to use to prime the pump. Typically you don't have to, but then you just go around to all your faucets, fixtures, and just run them until there's straight pink coming out of them. I've already done this one. And don't forget your shower. And you want to do both sides. I've already done that one. I haven't done this one yet, so should see some water. That's all water. So that's coming on the hot side. Let it run for a little bit and get all that water out. Don't forget your toilet. That's all water that could freeze. And I've got it through all the fixtures. It's a small camper, so I only needed about 1.5 gallons. So most people will probably need 2 or 3 gallons to get this done, but other than that, you just want to make sure you drain your water heater from the outside. Usually there's a valve, or remove the plug, and then obviously drain your black and gray tanks at the dump station, and make sure your freshwater tank is empty. Sometimes there's drains on them, sometimes there's not. Sometimes, a lot of times they're underneath the camper. If you don't have a drain for yours, you'll just have to pump the water out using your pump over time. But I would not suggest letting your pump run for a long period of time, maybe 10 minutes at a time, and then let it rest. If you just kick it on for 45 minutes and let it go, it'll get really hot. They're not rated to be constant duty. So yeah, if you have an older camper and it doesn't have a bypass valve, that's a fairly cheap and easy way to get it done. Comment if you have questions.